yesterday, the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, gave a stunning 90-minute press conference on the eve of this World Cup, where he made a number of bizarre comments.
Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay. Today I feel disabled. Today I feel a migrant worker. I think for what we Europeans have been doing in the last 3,000 years around the world, we should be apologizing for the next 3,000 years before starting to give moral lessons to people. Of course, I'm not really a migrant worker, but I feel like them because I know what it means to be discriminated, to be bullied as a foreigner in a foreign country, as a child at school. I was bullied because I had red hair. You lock yourself down, you go into your room, you cry, and then you try to make some friends. And you try to speak, to engage, and you try to get these friends to engage as well with others, and others, and others. You don't start accusing, fighting, insulting. You start engaging.
So to recap some of what Infantino said yesterday: today I feel Qatari, I feel Arab, I feel African, I feel gay, I feel disabled, I feel a migrant worker. He went on to say, for what we Europeans have been doing around the world in the last 3,000 years, we should be apologising for the next 3,000 years before starting to give moral lessons. Because I know we were on air yesterday when this was happening, and we were seeing things dripping through from social media, and eventually we spoke to Alex Crook, who was present at that as well. But our jaws were dropping every time we saw another quote come through. It was a bizarre, extraordinary news conference for the FIFA president to have done on the eve of a World Cup.
Yeah, and the length.
Yeah.
You know, nearly an hour and 30 minutes. And mainly him speaking with taking no questions. I found the whole interview strange. Surely the optimism should have been about the start of the World Cup. I think you could answer a number of questions at the end, and the problems that they have faced and the challenge of giving Qatar the World Cup back in 2010. So there was huge challenges for them. And even towards the end when he introduced Brian Swanson, who introduced his gay friend, and I'm thinking, well, that's not a representative of gay men because he's sitting next to the FIFA president. That felt very premeditated.
Well, Brian is the FIFA Director of Media Relations as well, so they know each other, which is what Brian was trying to say when he went on to say, look, I'm a gay man and I'm here in Qatar and I feel perfectly fine and safe, etc., etc.
And you're next to the FIFA president.
But was also echoing what lovely guy Gianni Infantino was, or is.
Yeah, I found it strange that that's not a representation of all gay men and on the issues that the challenges. I found that a bit a strange scenario. I don't get, and I was with a couple of journalists last night, and we were talking about the world on the globe. How many countries you could criticise for some of their beliefs or some of the things that happen in their countries, and you find there's lots of problems everywhere in the world. It's not just the Middle East. You can go to certain countries in Asia, you can go to Africa, you can go to South America. 1978 was full of problems in Argentina. Very political issues going on in that particular country at that time. And you can literally dissect the world and go, well, there's a lot of places that don't cover themselves in glory at all.
Yeah. I mean, it was, as I say, it was extraordinary, and my jaw was dropping, my eyebrows were raised when I was seeing some of the stuff, and there was an element of whataboutery from it, because just because you're trying to defend something that's happening here with trying to say, well, this happens elsewhere, that doesn't help the situation we're in right now, where we're trying to highlight human rights issues in Qatar, for example, and trying to make it, maybe try and change what's happening here. Now, obviously, no one's saying we've got to force change, but you want their eyes to be opened to a different way of life, let's say. And I thought Gianni Infantino went about it completely the wrong way and made it all about himself, really, when actually, like you've alluded to already, it should have been about let's focus on the football for now. Let's talk about the football, and then after we can discuss what the legacy will be of this World Cup, whether that's on the football pitch or off it.
Well, it could have been a speech of this is a great moment, and being inclusive with different beliefs and moving forward and implementing change in a slightly different way without force could have been a great start.
Yeah, but like you've already said, you've gone out with journalists last night, and all everyone's talking about is Gianni Infantino, which is not what we should have been talking about last night. He
did go after the media, and there are sometimes questions that need to be asked. One of the things that I've learned being involved in, for 22 years in media in England, has been that there are a lot of very good journalists who will uncover stuff that's going on. That doesn't mean there isn't problems going on in their own country at all.
Yeah,
there's issues everywhere that you can deal with. But there are people that will point fingers and ask certain questions that he doesn't like. And he doesn't like it that it's been asked of Qatar and the Middle East. And I think that's a fair thing to do. We're trying to make things better. And football is wanting to grow everywhere in the world. And in every continent, they're trying to get football and use it as a way to move us all forward in a better world. Football's done a lot. Sport has done a lot. It's not just football. Yeah. Sport has made a massive impact. And I've realised, I always used to say, we should never get involved in politics. We have to now, as sportsmen. We have to be involved in some capacity because change can be made via the beauty of sport.